Brenden Slaughter here for BeaversEdge.com. We're coming to you live from Reser Stadium, where Oregon State reached their 6th win, defeating Stanford 35-14 here at Reser Stadium. Again, Brenden Slaughter here for BeaversEdge.com. Thanks for sticking with us. There's a lot to break down, but the biggest statement made tonight was by Oregon State. For the first time since 2013, they get back to the postseason. All the way back to the 2013 Hawaii Bowl was the last time Oregon State got to the postseason. They get win number 6 tonight. Also snap a 2-game slide after losses to Cal and Colorado a week ago. The most important thing in this game for Oregon State obviously is getting that 6-win mark with matchups against Arizona State and Oregon on deck to come. But perhaps the biggest aspect of this game has to be Oregon State's defensive response. I mean, you go back to those games against Cal and Colorado where the defense really didn't look good. There weren't a whole lot of things to talk about positively. The changes made. Tim Tibesar relieved of his duties. Trent Bray comes in as the interim DC. It's a noticeable change on the field tonight. You see Oregon State playing a lot more sound on that end of the field, limiting the Cardinal to just 14 points, as we mentioned. And if it hadn't been for a few extra plays they'd been along the way, they would have, had an even bigger day against the Cardinals. So a lot to like there, especially after those 2 games on the road that were, very out of character for this group. Offensively, you obviously liked what you saw from Chance Nolan. He was equal parts efficient and explosive as he was able to kind of kickstart the passing game, finding Trevon Bradford, Tegan Quatoriano, several others as well. And then the ground game. You talk about not quite what we've seen where it's kind of BJ Baylor and everyone else. Tonight it was a bit of an even share amongst BJ Baylor, Trey Lowe, and Deshaun Fenwick all got into the mix, also some fly sweeps as well. So a really impressive bounce back performance type of a game for Oregon State where you were able to see them be able to put aside, the kind of noise of the last 2 weeks, the noise of, making a coaching change and coming into Reser Stadium where they remain perfect on the year now up to 5-0, and they were able to take care of business against a team that had been struggling this year. You look at the Cardinal come into the game, they needed to win out to reach bowl eligibility, and they now cannot. And this is where Oregon State just needed to take care of business. They had to come in and prove they could win against a team that was not as good as they were on paper, unlike we saw the last 2 weeks, and they did. And I think that is a credit to this crowd we had here tonight. The student section was filled and rocking, and you really could tell the momentum really started to flip. And perhaps most importantly within this game is the fact that the defense was able to force some turnovers. I mean, you go back, Oregon State had not forced a turnover since the Washington State game, and that had been such a very identifiable reason why the defense wasn't in the black and was consistently, on the field and not be able to create those turnovers. We saw tonight how impactful and important those turnovers can be, game-changing type of situations where you're able to get the crowd involved and really energize the team. So again, Oregon State takes down Stanford 35-14 here at Reser Stadium. They got their final home game of the year next week against Arizona State right here at Reser Stadium, 7:30 kickoff. But go ahead and stay tuned to BeaversEdge.com. We're going to have wall-to-wall coverage of Oregon State's win tonight. We're going to break down everything it means for the postseason, and most importantly, look ahead to what could happen the next 2 weeks, as we've got a couple massive matchups before ultimately heading to the postseason. That's something, again, Oregon State has not been able to say for quite some time, and now they've guaranteed themselves a bowl. They've guaranteed themselves practices in December for the first time in however many years, and more than anything, that's just how this game comes down to be. So again, Oregon State defeats Stanford tonight 35-14 at Reser Stadium. Make sure to keep it locked to BeaversEdge.com. We'll have recruit reaction, 5 takeaways, a column. We'll have the whole 9 yards, so go ahead and keep it locked. Again, Oregon State over Stanford 35-14. Signing off from Reser Stadium.